Hi, this is Joel Persinger. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I really deeply appreciate it. And hopefully I'm not boring you to tears with these videos on California regulations. Unfortunately, in California, we all need to know what the heck they are as best we can figure them out. And if you're in another state, believe me, you want to know what they are because they could be coming to a state near you. We're already seeing that happen in several states: Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Nevada, and others. Unfortunately, this stuff tends to migrate. So we got to get prepared for it in free states and continue the battle here in California and states like it. California is not the only one. New York, New Jersey, and others have very strict firearms laws. We need to battle them there too. So let me get started where I left off the last time. These things are no less ridiculous after a week of at SHOT Show than they were when I did the part one of this series before I left for SHOT Show. When I came back and reviewed them again, I was shaking my head. But nevertheless, here we go. All right, now if you're going to actually register your assault weapon and you wish to do that, here's the information that you have to provide to the California Department of Justice. I'll put this up on the screen for you so you can see it. Firearms type, make, model, caliber, firearm color, barrel length, serial number, all identification marks, firearm country of origin, and this is interesting, the date the firearm was acquired, the name and address of the individual from whom or business from which the firearm was acquired. Keep in mind that if you happen to have acquired that firearm and you didn't do it exactly according to the law, maybe you bought it from your buddy Bill, Jim, Fred, Henry, Sally, maybe, who knows, and you didn't do the, transfer through a dealer and whatever, and you are required to give this information, you may be confessing to a crime, and you might not even know it. I'm questioning whether this isn't a violation of the Fifth Amendment requiring you to do this, because you have a Fifth Amendment guarantee in the Constitution against self-incrimination. That information was not normally included, by the way. If you wanted to register an assault weapon in the previous law, then all was required was serial number, make, model, type, caliber, day and month if you knew, or year that you acquired it, and the store that you bought it from. Basically, that was it. But they've added a few things. Once again, DOJ struck and added stuff. And we see that a lot. Now, additionally, you're supposed to send not one, not two, but 4 clear, quote-unquote, clear photographs of the firearm. Nobody's defined what clear means. What does that mean? Nobody knows. And so some bureaucrat somewhere could send the whole registration back to you and kick it back out and say, I'm sorry, these photographs just aren't clear enough. I mean, what is it? Am I at the DMV where it depends on which line I get in and how nice that person is, whether I get my car registered or not? Kind of the same with firearms at this moment. Now, here's the photographs you're supposed to send. You're supposed to send, and again, we'll put it up on the screen for you. You're supposed to send one photo that must depict the bullet button style magazine release installed on the gun. Excuse me. One photo must depict the firearm from the end of the barrel to the end of the stock, if it's a long gun, or the point furthest from the end of the barrel if it's a pistol. Now that doesn't make any sense to me, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. Excuse me again. The other 2 photographs must show the left side of the receiver frame and the right side of the receiver frame, and that's because that's where the manufacturing marks generally are. And the DOJ has said that they will allow you to take photographs and swap those last 2 out for other photos of where the firearm is, may have other markings other than on the frame. Now the whole thing about clear photos makes no sense to me whatsoever. There's a few questions I have about it. One, what constitutes clear? They don't define that. And obviously that's going to come back to bite somebody just because some bureaucrat someplace doesn't think it's clear enough. For example, then another one, this bit about a photo that depicts the firearm from the end of the barrel to the end of the stock if it's a long gun, or the point furthest from the end of the barrel if it's a pistol. Okay, what angle are we taking that picture from? Is it straight down on the gun from the top maybe, or is it from the front of the barrel a long way, or is it, what exactly? They didn't send any examples of photographs that meet the description of what they want. They just threw this out there, I guess, for us all to figure out. For that matter, it's an uploaded photo. It's a digital photo. Does that mean it's a GIF, or is it a JPEG, or is it a PNG, or is it a TIFF? What format does that photo have to be? What's the specific resolution? Is there a minimum resolution that constitutes clear? What's the background supposed to be? If I take the black rifle and I put it up against a black background, is that good enough? Or does it have to be a white background? Or does it have to be a green background? Or how about if I put it up next to my leopard skin rug? I don't have a leopard skin rug, but I'll go get one just for this, if that constitutes clear. How about if I put it up against my camouflage shirt? You know, my son asked me, why are you wearing a camouflage shirt? I said, I don't know. It's the shirt I got out of the drawer. No, the reason I'm wearing it is so the DOJ won't be able to see me doing this video because I'm camouflaged. I don't know. But, you know, this is the stupid stuff that you come on, guys, send us some photos of what you want, or describe the particular photo that you want, or what the background's got to look like, or whatever, if you want us to actually do this. I got to tell you, I don't think most Californians are going to do this anyway, so I'm not so sure it really matters. All right, now a couple of questions have come up. I've gotten, can you register the gun to more than one person? Yes, you can do something called joint registration with family members who live in your household. Forgive me, I'm turning around here a lot. So let me talk about that briefly. If you want to register the assault weapon and you wish to register it with more than one person, then it has to be a family member, it has to be somebody that lives in your house. And it's got to be, you got to have a primary registrant, that's the numero uno, and then you got to have the additional registrants, however many that there are. Now those additional registrants have to be at least 18 years of age on or before December 31st, 2017. This includes, what do I do with my glasses? I don't know. Aha! Hiding behind me over here. Let's see. This includes spouses, parent to child, child to parent, grandparent to grandchild, grandchild to grandparent, domestic partner, and siblings. That's it. No more. That's it. So, you know, what about in-laws? Uncles, aunts, if you want to do it that way, cousins, and so on. They're not listed there. What if the primary registrant of this assault weapon is not the person to whom the gun is currently registered? Or what if the gun's not registered at all because it was purchased before registration of long arms was required? What happens then? How does that work? I don't know. Can you transfer the gun to a sibling? I don't know, because it didn't say from brother to sister, or sister to brother, or brother to brother, or whatever. They didn't include those. So I can't, if my brother and I wanted to, you know, if Marty and I wanted to register us together, we couldn't do it because it doesn't say so. I guess. I don't know. He's my brother, so, you know, but we can't do it, apparently. How about joint registration of assault weapons proof? You've got to prove that this person lives with you. They have to live with you. So they have to have a concealed weapons permit. This is one, you know, here they are on the screen for you. If they have a concealed weapons permit that says they live with you, by the way, I have a concealed carry permit in the state of California, and if I find the other person that's got one, maybe we could form a club. Look, they're not particularly common. I don't even know why they listed them here. Curio and Relics license, a CNR FFL license, a utility bill with their name on it, military permanent duty station orders. Now, that's your military ID as the registrant. The fact that your spouse is in the military and has one doesn't count. It has to be yours. Property deed, you own the property and you can show it. Your hunting license that shows that you live there. Signed and dated rental agreement or contract or residential lease. Trailer certification of title that has your address on it, or DMV registration has your address on it, or a California certificate of eligibility to own a firearm. Any of those will allow you to register it, provided it has the appropriate address on it. Now, what if you want to, somebody dies and they leave you this gun? What happens now? So they passed away, it's a registered assault weapon, and they leave you the gun. Okay? What do you have to do? First of all, within 90 days, if it's anything other than a 50 BMG rifle. If it's a 50 BMG rifle, for some idiotic reason, you have 180 days. I don't know why. But if it's anything other than that, any other kind of assault weapon, within 90 days of you inheriting this gun, you have to do one of the following. And you're not going to like any of them, but here they are. I don't like them, so there you are. Render the weapon permanently inoperable. Nick, can you put these up on the screen for him? Render the weapon permanently inoperable. Sell the weapon to a licensed gun dealer with a dangerous weapons permit. Obtain a permit from the Department of Justice. What's the likelihood of that? Good luck. You ain't going to get one of those. Or remove the weapon from this state. So really, the only choices you have, they say they got 4, but you're not going to get a permit. Come on. Are you kidding me? You really got three choices. You can render the gun permanent. You can make a paperweight out of it and render it inoperable. You can sell it to a licensed gun dealer with a dangerous weapons permit, or you can get the stupid thing out of the state. But you're not going to get to keep it here because there's no way in the world on God's green earth that you're going to get a permit from the Department of Justice to do so. All right, I get tons of questions about the whole 80% lower thing. What the state of California has quaintly called firearms manufactured by unlicensed subjects, or FMBUS, FMBUS. I don't know. Government acronyms. All right, here's the deal. If you want to build an 80% lower, supposedly you will still be able to do that, supposedly. And if you already have them, then you got to get a serial number on them in order for them to be legal. Now, come on now. The truth is that I would say fully the majority of Californians who have 80% lowers or plan on building them are not going to tell the California government that they have them. They're going to set them aside, and if the California government comes along and, bangs on their door and says, give me your AR, they're going to give them the stripped lower that has the serial number on it. And when the agents leave, they're going to build their rifle out of the 80% lower. Now, I don't know this because, the majority of Californians have called me or sent me notes and said, this is what I'm going to do. It's common sense, okay? First of all, these laws are wholly and completely unconstitutional. And I have people post comments all the time. It's unconstitutional. You don't have to follow that law. Well, those are two statements. One's correct and one's not. They are unconstitutional, which makes the laws completely invalid. True. Will California enforce them anyway and imprison you, fine you, strip you of your firearms rights and other such things for breaking them? Absolutely. Should they be allowed to do that? No. Will they do it anyway? Yes. So anybody who fools themselves into thinking that because the Constitution says this is unconstitutional, that they can just go pell-mell, do whatever they want. If they get caught, it's not going to hurt them and they're going to win in court. I think that person's a little kooky, because the fact is, if you break these laws, which I know a lot of folks are going to do, and I'm not advocating that because I can't. I'm a YouTuber. I'm the host of an internet show. I can't say such things, so I'm not going to. But if you choose to break these laws, understand that California will enforce them even though they are unconstitutional. We have to get rid of the laws, change the politicians, fight it in court. I'm grateful for President Trump hopefully stacking the federal court with some people who actually care about the Constitution, including the Supreme Court, and I think that will help us a lot. But anyway, back to this, 80% lowers. All right. The California Code of Regulations requires that any unlicensed individual who is seeking to register a firearm that they manufactured, and they want to register it as an assault weapon, must first seek a serial number from the Department of Justice before initiating the assault weapon registration process. So if you have an AR or something similar that you built from an 80% lower, and it would qualify as an assault weapon under California law with these new laws, and you wish to register it, I don't know why, but if you do, then you have to go get a serial number placed on the lower first. Not just any serial number, but you have to apply for one from the California Department of Justice. And on the screen, we'll put up there, this whole thing I'm reading along there will be the email address that you have to send your request to. Now, once the applicant receives a serial number, it says here, he or she may take it to a federally licensed FFL manufacturer, that's an FFL type 07, to have the serial number engraved on the firearm in accordance with section 5474.2 and federal law. There's a problem with that, I'll tell you in a minute, but just keep that, under wraps for the moment. You can also use a non-licensed party to apply the serial number and other required markings. However, the regulations state that you cannot leave the firearm unattended with an unlicensed party in violation of firearms transfer or lending laws. Now look, before anybody does this work, it's important to realize that the ATFE may wholly disagree with this and say that no, if you're applying that number, that serial number to that gun, that constitutes gunsmithing and you have to have a license for that. So be aware of that. Likewise, if you're an 07 manufacturer, make sure you have a dangerous weapons permit because they haven't stated that here. So the DOJ is all wet where this is concerned, and they're going to have people getting themselves in all kinds of trouble. All right, when you take it down to the local engraver at the mall and say, by the way, can you engrave this? Well, they have to do it a specific way in a specific size, and by the way, it may constitute gunsmithing, and that person could be committing a crime. Particularly if you leave it with them overnight, that's a big deal. Don't do that. All right, once the serial number has been placed on the firearm, then you must submit one or more digital photos, here we go with the digital photos again, to the DOJ to provide proof that the firearm has been serialized. Lord knows what the digital photos need to be like, because we don't know what they need to be like because they didn't bother to tell us, so we have no idea. And that could jack up the whole process. All right, here's the problems I mentioned, just to go over them with you again. First of all, DOJ specifies that an 07 federal licensed manufacturer is all you need. But the problem is an 07 federal licensed manufacturer also has to have a dangerous weapons permit in order to take an assault weapon in the state of California. And if they don't have one and they take it to work on it, oops, wrong. That's a potential crime. The other thing is you're going to have somebody that's unlicensed do this. That may require an 01 license, which is a gunsmithing license, in order to do that. ATF has not told the DOJ otherwise, as far as I know, and so the DOJ is advising Californians to do something which is wholly and completely illegal. They don't seem to care. The engraving, casting, or stamping of the serial number must be a minimum depth of 0.003 inches and a print size of no less than 1/16 inch. So that's my point, is that there's a specific way these things have to be placed on there, and if they're not, that's a problem. This information must be placed in a manner not susceptible to being readily obliterated, altered, or removed. Here you go. This is what you got to put on. The model of the firearm. Maybe it doesn't have a model because you built an 80% lower, but you better come up with one. The caliber or gauge of the firearm if it's a shotgun. The manufacturer's first and last name. That would be you, if you built it. The city and state or recognized abbreviation thereof, where the manufacturer actually made the firearm. Now, the ghost gun bill that passed did not require any of this garbage, just so that you know. I mean, this goes, all this stuff goes well beyond the ghost gun bill that was passed. It doesn't require any. This is all stuff that DOJ has just thrown in here because they can. This is additional stuff they're just adding out of the ether as regulations. This is one of the reasons why these things are being fought, among other reasons, the fact that they're unconstitutional, for example. If you already have a serial number on the thing, or on the 80% lower serial number, you need to get it approved by the DOJ, or you got to get a new one because they want to issue their serial number that fits their particular thing. Registration fees. You're going to pay. The law says that they can charge up to $15. So guess how much they're charging? $15. If they told them they can charge up to $1,000, they'd be charging that. They're going to charge the limit, whatever it is. There is no limit to the number of assault weapons a person can register in a single transaction. So if you're registering more than one, I suggest you register them all at the same time, because it may be that that'll only cost you $15, but they're not clear about it, so they don't know. The fees can be paid by a debit card or credit card. A $5 fee is required to obtain a copy of the original registration if you want one. There you go. You can make copies of your own if you want. There's no restriction that says you can't, but if you want an original copy, it's going to cost you $5. I suggest if you're going to register your firearms, which I'm not going to do, I'm going to do the dance again. No, I said I would never dance again. Make it featureless, make it featureless, make it featureless. That's what I keep advising people to do, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to register my guns for all the reasons I stated in a video I did saying do not register. 5 reasons why you shouldn't register your assault weapon. There you go. All right. Processing of the applications. The applications have to be received by January 1, 2017. I'm sorry. Boy, I probably just gave you a heart attack there. The applications have to be received between January 1, 2017 and December 31st, 2017. So you got to get the application in on or before December 31st, 2017, or it will not be processed. Now, this big statement that you're seeing on your screen, I put up there for a reason, because this is, again, part of the processing of application process. And it states, this is written by the DOJ, if the Department of Justice deems your application incomplete, you must provide the requested information or documentation to the DOJ within 30 days. If the DOJ does not receive the information within that time, your application will be rejected and your fee will not be refunded. So you send a photo that isn't clear. Nobody's defined clear. And guess what? Or you send a photo that isn't, angled the right way. Nobody's defined the way they're supposed to be sent. And all of a sudden you're out your $15 and they've said, sorry, it's not good. You have to send it to us again. Now, this is why I would urge you, if you've decided to register your assault weapon, which isn't an assault weapon, if you've decided to register the darn thing, make sure you do it well in advance. Don't wait until the last minute, because as long as you have time, you can submit a new application. But if somehow they send you a rejection and you go beyond that December 31st, 2017 date, well, you're screwed. You can't register it now. So make sure that you do it in plenty of time, if indeed you choose to do it. All right, once the DOJ has determined that all the necessary information that you are required to send has been received and the firearm qualifies for registration, the firearms eligibility check will begin. They're not checking the firearm, they're checking you. Okay, here's a suggestion. You can go through the firearms eligibility check on your own in advance with the California Department of Justice. If you have even the slightest little bit of suspicion that you might come back a prohibited person during this thing, I strongly suggest you do the firearms eligibility check without regard to whether you own a firearm or not. Just go through the eligibility check ahead of time. Pay for it ahead of time and go through it. And that way, if it comes back clean, then try to register your assault weapon. Don't take a gamble if you think you might bounce out of there with a bad record or something and attempt to register an assault weapon. Because if you do, gunk, 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 you're going to get a knock on your door by the California Department of Justice wanting to know where the assault weapon is and why you have it when you're a prohibited person. And that's not going to go well. So do yourself a favor and go through the eligibility check ahead of time if you have any doubt as to whether you're going to pass and go through it without any problem. All right, post-registration modification. Here's the deal. I've seen it all over the web. If I register my gun as an assault weapon, I can take off the bullet button and put on a regular mag release. Well, no, you can't, because they specifically wrote into these proposed regulations that you can't. It says, and I quote, "You are prohibited from changing the release mechanism for the ammunition feeding device on any quote-unquote assault weapon registered under the new regulations. This registration does not apply to the repair or like-kind replacement of the mechanism or to a firearm that is undergoing the deregistration process," which I'll go over here in a minute. So basically, if you have a bullet button gun that is legal now only because it has a bullet button on it, because it has all kinds of features on it that California, for some idiotic reason, doesn't like. A collapsible stock, a forward pistol grip, a flash hider, whatever. A pistol grip, all those different things that it doesn't like. A grenade launcher, I really want one of those, but they're illegal in California in general. But if you've got any of that stuff on your rifle, that's why you have a bullet button. You can't take the bullet button off before you register it because it's only legal with the bullet button on it. So if you register it so you can keep all of those features, once it's registered, guess what? It has to keep the bullet button on it. You can't take it off. So there goes the whole idea of I'll register it so I can have a fully functional rifle because then I can take the bullet button off. No, legally you cannot. So there you go. You cannot modify it. You cannot take it off. You can make other modifications. You can change the collapsible stock if you want. You can do all those things as long as you don't, make it shorten the barrel and make it a short-barreled rifle, or put an auto sear in it and make it a machine gun or something like that. Because as long as you don't make it an NFA gun, you're probably fine. All right, voluntary deregistration. I get this question a lot. Once it's registered, can you deregister it? Yes, but it's a process, and it's not assured, just so that you know. There's no guarantee. The regulations state, the way they wrote them, you can voluntarily deregister your firearm as an assault weapon if A, you no longer possess the assault weapon, or B, the firearm has been modified or reconfigured to no longer meet the definition of an assault weapon in the state of California. I love this. Deregistration requests. Hello, a request is just that, and it can be denied. It can be approved or it can be denied. So once it's registered, you say, I don't want it to be registered anymore, and I made all these changes, and would you guys please deregister it? Please? That's a request. They can deny it if they want to. Deregistration requests must be in writing, signed, dated, and provide the following information: your name, telephone number, current address, make, model, and serial number of the assault weapon, and the DOJ assault weapon registration number. If you don't have the DOJ registration number, one's going to wonder why. And then you have to have the whole thing notarized. If the firearm has been modified or reconfigured to no longer meet the definition of an assault weapon, one or more photographs clearly, again, undefined, clearly depicting the firearm in its current configuration must be attached to the written deregistration request. Additional information, photographs, and so on can be attached as well and may be requested by the department. If the registrant is no longer in possession of the firearm, then you have to prove that you sold it or transferred it or took it out of the state or whatever you did. You don't own it anymore. And you got to have acceptable proof, which they haven't clearly defined. If the firearm is deregistered, the DOJ will delete the assault weapon registration for the specified firearms. Does anybody actually believe that? Really? Seriously? They registered your gun and they're going to take it out? Yeah, well, they're going to take it out of the assault weapons registration and put it in the registration. They're not going to lose your information. They're not going to delete the gun. They're not going to do it. Once they have it, if you think they're going to delete it, then you're whistling Dixie. You obviously don't know that much about the California government if that's the case. If the firearm is still possessed by the registrant, they will convert the information to the firearm's ownership record. If the firearm was sold to a party outside of California, otherwise lawfully disposed of or seized, the DOJ will create a no longer in possession entry in the automated firearm system. But they're not losing the information. They're just going to move it around. Once the process is complete, the DOJ will mail you a letter stating that the thing has been deregistered. And there you go. We did it. Are you still awake? I hope so. Holy smoke. Okay, this stuff is going to spark a whole lot of lawsuits, and it should, and hopefully we win a few of them. My hope is that with Donald Trump as the President of the United States, that we'll see some constitutionally aware and conservative justices being appointed to the federal bench. However, I have seen an awful lot of people saying, Donald Trump will save us. Donald Trump will fix California. Look, he's the President of the United States. He's not the governor of California. And so he has limited power to do things with states. States have states' rights. So the way that we get to change it in this state is to fight back. And we're going to have to do that politically. And we're going to have to do that by, making sure people know what's going on. A lot of people vote for this stuff and they have no idea what it is. Hence, this video, so that people know what they've done to themselves. I think the other thing we can do is join the National Rifle Association, join the California Rifle and Pistol Association. For crying out loud, join the Second Amendment Foundation. They file a tremendous number of lawsuits, and I actually got a chance to interview Alan Gottlieb at SHOT Show, and that interview will be posted in a couple of days. There's a lot of organizations we can help out and join, and if there's an opportunity and you're not working that day and you can attend a protest that's peaceful, please do. And then, the normal stuff, write letters and so on, which unfortunately our state legislators tend to ignore. But one step at a time, keep up the good fight. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I haven't bored you to death. Have a great week. Please subscribe. I need all the help I can get. And if you wouldn't mind, please share the video with other people that you know are of like mind so that they know what's going on as well. Have a great week, and thank you very much for watching. Be safe.